All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. The Russian President Vladimir Putin is all set to visit India this coming week. And ahead of Putin's state visit, Moscow is set to ratify a key military pact with New Delhi. The Russian President Vladimir Putin will be visiting India for a two-day state visit between the 4th and the 5th of December. And this visit will see Vladimir Putin take part in the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. Now, during this visit, the Russian President Vladimir Putin will be holding bilateral talks with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on several areas, including defense and economic cooperation. Now, the agenda of the meeting will also focus on inking a raft of different pacts that reinforces defense and energy ties in a bid to boost India's green energy goals. Now, both countries are also planning to ink agreements on civil nuclear cooperation, with the Russian state company Rosatom proposing to localize small modular reactors and high-powered units at the Kudankulam nuclear plant in Tamil Nadu. On the defense front, India is all set to procure more S-400 Sudarshan air defense regiments from Russia for about $1.2 billion. Furthermore, the summit's joint statement will review the special and privileged strategic partnership, targeting $100 billion in terms of bilateral trade by the year 2030 through national currencies. Now, the special and privileged strategic partnership underscores mutual trust and also the shifting alliances. The privileged partnership spans defense, where Russia supplies about 70% of India's imports, and this includes the Su-30 MKI fighter jets, the T-90 tanks, and also the S-400 air defense systems, and the INS Vikramaditya carrier. The strategic partnership also includes building smaller reactors at the Kudankulam nuclear plant in Tamil Nadu. The privileged partnership also encompasses discounted oil imports and fostering people-to-people links through e-visas and cultural exchanges. Now, ahead of the visit, the Russian parliament will ratify the Reciprocal Exchange of Logistics Agreement, also known as RELOS, that aims to enhance military cooperation between the two strategic partners. And according to the Russian news agency TASS, ratifying RELOS will strengthen cooperation between Russia and India in the military sphere. Now, the RELOS agreement aims to streamline the joint military exercises and disaster relief operations. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got with us Ambassador Anil Trigunath, who is the former Indian diplomat. He served in Indian missions in the United States, Russia, Sweden, Nigeria. He's also served as the Director General and Joint Secretary for the Gulf and the Hajj divisions of the Ministry of External Affairs. Ambassador Trigunath, thank you very much indeed for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you very much.
Now, this visit by the Russian President Vladimir Putin to India, how significant is this? Because this is a relationship between two partners whose equation seems to be getting stronger by the day.
Well, as you know, that this is nearly the 25th year of our special and privileged strategic partnership, under which the annual summits had been institutionalized. And in that context, President Putin is coming to India for the state visit at the invitation of Prime Minister Modi, who had been there last, and also for other international meetings and summits they have met. Now, we have seen the kind of chemistry the two leaders have. Most recently in Tianjin, when they both traveled in Putin's limousine and had discussions on various important issues. The same kind of thing had happened earlier when Prime Minister Modi had gone to Sochi and President Putin took him around driving himself in the limousine. So that's the kind of relationship at the leader-to-leader level. And I personally feel that that is quite a big mover of this bilateral partnership, President Putin's commitment and Prime Minister Modi's commitment to this leadership. And we have seen that has been reflected in many ways. This is a relationship that encompasses nearly everything that you have mentioned, from defense to security, to trade and economic exchanges, to investments, to very unique kind of arrangements that the two countries have devised between them. While Russia has been at war for nearly now three plus years, it has still maintained and tried to prioritize India's defense requirements wherever it is needed. And President Putin has himself been personally invested in seeing to it that happens. So therefore, this will continue to expand.
Right.
But in the recent years, as we have seen, because of our energy security, Russia has emerged as our number one energy security partner. And not only that, because what we are importing, the discounted oil that saved billions of dollars for India, India has also emerged as a major exporter to the Western countries and to many other countries of the refined petroleum products. Now, that is something that the West and the United States failed to understand, and that they imposed additional sanctions, which India has withstood. And as we have seen, Prime Minister Modi himself has told a parliament panel that those sanctions really had no great impact on our exports, which have continued to increase. And India, as you know, Lowly Institute's study shows
Right.
India to have become the third in terms of the comprehensive power. So this time also we will see many agreements signed,
Right.
a joint statement, and the new areas of cooperation that you mentioned as well.
Indeed. Now, the thing with geopolitics is it constantly changes. The reality that existed, before February 2022 is different from the reality that we have now. And with the American president, making a lot of efforts to try and bring a war to an end between Russia and Ukraine to an end, things will again change. Do you think the special and privileged strategic partnership that India and Russia have in trying to expand trade, once the war in Ukraine ends, the dynamic of the hydrocarbons that India purchases from Russia will change again? How do you think India will balance these issues out?
Well, I don't think it's going to change, because for Russia also, being a strategic partner, dependency, as Dr. Jaishankar says, that this is the only constant in the international relations. So it's true that the both countries understand each other's sensitivities and the interests and have stood by each other. I mean, that is very true. Of course, India also has a policy whereby sovereignty and territorial integrity of nations has to be respected, and has not really endorsed the Russian special operations for the war that has happened in Ukraine, and wants this war to end. We also are working to end the war. Prime Minister Modi himself has traveled to Moscow as well as to Kyiv to achieve that. And so that happens, that will be very good, because the value supply chains that have been disrupted might come into being. But India is a growing partnership.
Right.
India is a country which is the fourth largest economy, going to be the third soonest. So its energy requirements will continue to be there. And if our reliability on the Russian supplies continues and it is cost effective, India will continue to buy that. And that has been shown during this period of time as well.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Ambassador, for joining us with that perspective.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.